This is Wrestling Republic. Wrestling Republic. This is Wrestling Republic.
Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And it's Saturday. You know what that means. It means we're reviewing last night's episode of SmackDown, and it also means that Arsenal have just lost the game, which of course I'm not happy about, but I'm not here to complain about that today. In fact, hopefully I won't have to do much complaining at all. But joining me today, firstly, the co-host for today, the man who you guys usually know as the Tuesday Night Delight, today doing 2 shows on a Saturday. Later on today he's going to be doing Off the Air, reviewing NXT Deadline. That is Shad. Shad, how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm moving up in this world right now, co-host duties, but I'm good. Enjoyed SmackDown last night, and I'm definitely excited for the NXT pay-per-view tonight and reviewing that with my good brothers Drizzy and Clark. But let's get into it. And I'm excited to have my first show on the daily with these 2 other gentlemen that you are about to introduce as well.
Yep. It's been a long time since these 2 guys have been on a show together. And we all know the chaos that used to happen. Pun intended, actually, because Chaos was hosting when these guys were on the same show. But we got a couple of comments first. Firstly, Melissa. Shout out Melissa and Jacob, who's, of course, rubbing it in my face that Arsenal lost. Traitor, Jacob. Absolute traitor. But first, let me introduce the always controversial Ignacio. Ignacio, how are you today?
Feeling pretty good, Ben. Pretty good. Making my way to Santiago, Chile later on today. So got a long flight ahead of me tonight for work purposes. You know, a big 10-hour flight, but I'll be doing okay. I got my reading material for the plane.
Hey.
Everybody knows I'm really into wrestling books. Never read Jerry Lawler's. I got Mankind's book, Mick Foley's book also. So plenty of material. Gotta say, Ben, I almost didn't take... I requested to be on the show today because it's going to be my last show for at least a month or a little while. And I got to say, man, I kind of almost pulled back a little bit because I found out who was going to be on the show. But I go, I guess it's better than having Chaos or David Sheldon on here because they keep on ducking me. You know, I keep on making the challenge out to David and he keeps on ducking me. So I don't know where he's at. You know what I mean? Maybe we can finally arrange something when I'm in Santiago. I'll have to get in Chaos, but Chaos keeps on ducking me too. So I don't know what the deal is.
Oh, David's hiding while he's interviewing, what's his name, the guy from Barbie. And Chaos has seemingly lost the tables, but last but certainly not least.
The notebook first, Ben. The notebook first.
The notebook. Okay. But last but certainly not least, we have Soul. Soul, how are you today?
What's up? Hey, buddies, how you doing? Yeah, it's good to be back as always. And main thing is Ignacio. Long time no see, buddy. Long time no see. I can't wait to hear what you got to say.
The return of that rivalry. But let's now jump in first. Let's kick things off, Shad, by talking about the man who's on everybody's lips at the minute, CM Punk, because he returned to WWE television last week on Raw, where he cut a promo, and the promo he cut, well, a lot of people said it was bland, overly scripted, and just nothing of note. Well, CM Punk took that personally. He even referenced it in his promo on SmackDown last night. And wow, did he bounce back. The promo was certainly something. And he referenced Brawl Out. He was talking about Kevin Owens and saying that why would you trust anybody who just randomly punches people in the face backstage? Clearly referencing that Brawl Out and Wembley situation. I mean, I found it hilarious, but what did you think, Shad? Do you think the line was crossed slightly?
Really now? I thought it was a line about just Kevin Owens punching Austin Theory and Grayson Waller backstage off of one punch. You know, I thought that maybe it was a double entendre. I'm a battle rapper. I do like stuff like that with hidden meanings, but No, I mean I said it briefly with you guys prior to when we started the show. He gave us a little bit more dip on the chip this time around, right? I'm one that would agree. I think the Monday Night Raw promo was a lot more, watered down, more due to a WWE pleasing of him kind of admitting like, hey, I'm back and I'm here to do good. And there wasn't a lot of oomph to it. There wasn't a lot of controversy to it.
Yeah.
Last night, I don't think we got like a super controversial promo. I don't think this was like pipe bomb essence, but it definitely was interesting, especially to your point, that line talking about what was at Brawl Out. I mean, we love it on both sides of the spectrum when we hear rival promotions kind of taking digs at each other, and some will kind of take it as a dig to AEW about what the history of what he's done over there. But I thought it was a solid promo overall. I think Punk is really good at this. He's one of the best talkers in wrestling history for that exact reason. And I think he did an excellent job kind of pipelining a lot of potential storylines. The one that we all are glaring and wanting to see. Obviously, him and Seth Rollins took the little jab at him.
Yes.
You're not even the man at your home. That's another double entendre. Good job, CM Punk. And then as well with the whole Kevin Owens one, which I have a lot of interest in seeing because I feel Kevin Owens is deserving of having a feud with someone like a CM Punk's magnitude, as well as that's a good opening potential opponent for Punk because both of those guys, to what he said, very similar, very, cutting edge, don't really care, against the system type of styles. And I think they'd have a good one. I think they both have a very good personality to mesh with each other. Him mentioning, am I going to go to Raw, SmackDown, put in the whole wanting to win the Royal Rumble, main eventing at WrestleMania. I think he covered a lot of ground last night. So overall, I thought it was a solid promo from the Punkster, and I'm definitely excited to see what we have continuing with him on Monday night.
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, you referenced it. Every single line in that promo seemed to have an underlying meaning under it. And that made me excited. Kevin Owens, again, like you touched upon, that would be just killer promos. We saw MJF and CM Punk go at it in AEW on the mic. Kevin Owens, CM Punk, just take my money. But, I mean, the real question is it gonna be... Are we going to get that match? Or is CM Punk going to be heading to Raw? We got Chaos in the comments saying he dropped his Brawl Out reference on the wrong show because it was absolute cricket. It went over the crowd's head. And I mean, in itself, a lot of people said that was a bit of a dig at AEW, that the crowd just had no clue about Brawl Out. But Ignacio, what do you think? What did you think of the promo? And do you think CM Punk will be going SmackDown full time?
Well, for once, Chaos is on cue because he set me up perfectly. That's exactly what I was going to mention right now. But first, real quick, I just going to let's get Stitch in there.
Hey!
He's visibly upset because she knows I'm leaving. So she's got her back turned to me. But Chaos, yeah, he's on point. So I don't think it was that the crowd was clueless. I was gonna mention that right off the bat. I just think that, the references that Punk made to Brawl Out and the backstage stuff in AEW and the Elite and stuff like that. I just think the crowd just wasn't with it. I think they don't want any mention of that. I don't think they were expecting it because of whatever NDAs and stuff were signed and Punk made reference to it. But I think they don't want to hear any of that. They're ready to move on from that. And they wanted to hear more about Seth Rollins. I think that's what they really wanted to hear, is him reference Seth Rollins. And he did just that with the cough-and comments that he made and the double entendres like Shad made. But I thought it was a good promo by Punk. I mean, he's just easing into little by little to, maybe everybody thought he was a little PG on Raw, but he's easing to the old Punk, and I think we're gonna get there. But I don't foresee him having anything on SmackDown or I think he's gonna sign with Raw. I don't foresee him having a match on Raw or anything. I think he's gonna have his first match at the Rumble. And I think he's gonna win the Rumble. I think they're gonna have pick one to win the Rumble, and I think he's gonna main event night one WrestleMania with Seth Rollins. So I think that's what everybody's looking forward to. I don't. The WWE audience or crowd is not very clamoring to him referencing the Elite or anything like that. I think it's beneath them, and they're ready to move on from that.
No, I mean that is a good point. A lot of people did say that on social media. Why is CM Punk bringing up that? It's time to move on. In fairness to him, everybody said after the Raw promo that he should have referenced that. So I think people are going to kind of complain regardless. But for me personally, I was fine with it last night, but I hope they don't do it again. I hope this isn't a regular weekly thing now. I hope it's a one and done thing. He gave you, the cheap pop, even though it didn't get a pop. And now it's just time to move on, essentially, as far as I'm concerned, on that one. But what about you, Soul? How are you feeling? Of course, we dropped the reel earlier. You're not happy about CM Punk in WWE. You're not happy that CM Punk's doing anything in wrestling. But what were your thoughts on this promo?
Yeah, I'm just never really generally happy unless it's Wednesday or Saturday night. Sorry, Rampage. At 3 a.m. I have limitations. But look, hey, if Punk wants to win the Rumble and main event, buy one free of a get one free extravaganza, he can do that. Good for him. Congratulations. I genuinely, honestly do agree with Ignacio. Ignacio was right. The SmackDown promo was better than the Raw one, and I feel like seeing all the Elite stuff is pointless. Hardcore fans are sick of it. Look at, what obviously previous David Sheldon, obviously of Wrestling Republic, mentioned, being like it painted all in, no one really wanting to care about it, no one wanted to focus on it, but it was just the overloading cloud of the event. And to bring it back up, because I know they're probably going to do like a contract signing before the Rumble on the Raw or something with Seth and him in the ring, and then they're going to throw shades like Seth's going to say, you got fired from 2 wrestling companies and an owner who was able to bend over backwards just to have you praise him or something like that. Something silly like that, I think. And I honestly don't think people are going to really care about it. But another thing I want to mention as well, obviously with the crowd not really getting the hints, we know maybe the casual WWE audience, we can look at the ratings, obviously there's more of them than there are AEW fans. If they found out maybe what Punk was like at AEW, would they maybe be a bit more sour to him?
Perhaps, but I mean, at the same time, I feel like even if Punk returned to AEW, like he did the first time, people were still cheering him. Some people were booing him, but they were still tuning in. I mean, even after Brawl Out, which was, the big issue, he was still the biggest draw in the company when he came back. So I kind of feel like, love him or hate him, people tune in and watch him. And this is the thing about a lot of these CM Punk haters. I mean, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Saul, but do you make sure that you tune in every time you see CM Punk now, when you see him advertised? Are you curious to see what he's going to say?
Absolutely not. I'd rather watch Serpentico on Rampage.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
That's ridiculous.
That's
silly.
Serpentico.
Everyone loves
really?
Serpentico.
Give me a Serpentico Iron Man match, and I would watch that over Punk main event in WrestleMania.
Don't be ridiculous.
I am not ridiculous.
Well, I don't agree. Look, I'm not saying I agree with everything that Punk did in AEW or anything like that. But look, WWE signing CM Punk it makes AEW look bad. It makes Tony Khan look bad. I'm not saying what Punk did was right, but
I would
it
agree
just goes to show you that part of the problem is the management over there in AEW. They didn't know how to manage. They don't know how to manage their employees, and they didn't know how to manage Punk.
Ignacio,
One of the reasons why this makes AEW look bad is WWE knows how to handle their personnel, and they know how to handle Punk.
Absolutely.
So as Punk goes along and everything turns out okay, it makes AEW look worse.
He's not wrong.
I like to compare things to sports a lot, and it's the same thing where we talk about like the issues and troubles of Vince McMahon kind of micromanaging or being way too into storylines or what wrestlers' images and stuff to do. The vice versa is the same with Tony Khan, where he's a little bit too much of a player-friendly coach, giving people a lot of creative freedom and doing whatever they want when you do have a TV product that you have to push and not leaning on, veterans or marquee people within booking and stuff like that. So it is something that I feel like he does need to work. I would definitely rely on someone who's got merit or his like at least some sort of credit within the wrestling business, like Bryan Danielson, like he's doing right now. Lean heavy to people like that, because that can only, a lot of people, there's a lot of egos. Egos are gonna definitely destroy a good thing happening if you give them too much of a say and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'll quickly just say one thing right here is now. I think the biggest mistake in AEW's history, more so than anything, was letting Cody go. I feel like Cody was the biggest, like a mind map. He was the center of it, even above Tony. People respected Cody and wanted to go to him for stuff, and just really respected the man's insight for the business. Because at the end of the day, look what he's in WWE. He is a mega star. He's not even just a mega star. He's a worldwide mega star. The dude is killing it. I would 100% agree there as well. And I think with AEW, they're going to have, I think next year will be very important, because I think a lot of people are going to be leaving that company soon.
Wow. I mean, if that does happen, that will be, of course, shocking. And of course, I've said it already. I tweeted it out earlier, and it was posted on the Wrestling Republic Instagram page, that this Raw TV deal, it's interesting, because I truly do think, and I've studied the career of Ari Emanuel, I think he wants Raw on TNT/TBS. I think he wants WWE to take AEW's TV deal, and I don't know if it would be the right move for Warner, to be honest with you, because AEW would do anything for Warner, but if it does happen, AEW, it's in like severe trouble. So I'm really hoping that's not the case, but it might not be a good end of the year for AEW. And despite having the biggest ever show, the biggest non-WWE show pretty much in decades, I mean, it might be their worst year in the company's history. But now let's move on, and let's move on to talk about the United States Championship Tournament, because Santos Escobar took on Dragon Lee last night. And this match, I mean, I predicted Dragon Lee to win, but I thought if Santos would win, then it would either be, Dom screwing over Dragon Lee or some other shenanigans to, lead to that. Nope. It was clean. Santos Escobar won cleanly. I was shocked. Shad, do you have any insight on this?
I mean, yeah, it was odd to me just because of two things. One, Dragon Lee is a person who they're pushing heavily as a strong babyface. A lot of people are making it a similar comparison to him and Rey Mysterio, with him being obviously a luchador, but also being a fan favorite. And it's awesome to me. I even tweeted it yesterday, where I like the fact that he is getting a lot of, crowd up for him or happy to see him in like reaction, compared to, it's kind of difficult for some NXT call ups. So he's slowly, gradually building that. But I feel Santos at the moment is in the more pivotal spot. So I'm not upset with him winning, but it being a clean finish is a little weird to me, because you did have Dominic Mysterio right there, and then him and Dominic Mysterio got a match tonight. So it would have fit to the storyline. It would have built more animosity against each other going into tonight, as well as it both being monster heels. So I didn't like that so much, although I'm not a big fan of DQ finishes or interferences and whatnot. Maybe a hypocrite on that by saying I wish that was the case. But in the concept of what the storyline is for both competitors, I would have liked that. But a solid match. These guys got good chemistry against each other. They had a solid match at the last pay-per-view as well. So all in all, it was a solid TV match.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that one. It did its job, but I think even the crowd were a bit shocked at the end there. They were like, hang on, that was the finish? Like, nobody, even the commentary team.
I mean,
they were shocked.
They got a lot of confidence in Santos, man. I think that guy is really starting to show us what he can do as a heel. Like I was a big fan of Legado as a faction, especially him as a wrestler when they were on NXT. And I think them turning him heel and kind of letting him get to that, monster heel type of personality on the main roster is definitely the good direction to go. But yeah, to your point, it would have maybe been beneficial for Dragon Lee with him having a match tonight, but who knows? Maybe he'll get a win tonight.
Oh, if he does, It's going to give the same vibes as Jeff Hardy being Karrion Kross when Karrion Kross was the NXT champion, though, then last night's match. But who knows? Maybe they are, maybe Santos Escobar's going to be the new United States champion. They'll shock us all. Heel versus heel. It's 2023. Anything can happen. It'll actually be 2024 by then, but still, point stands. Now let's move on and let's talk about the other match, which happened last night that I mentioned Karrion Kross just then. Talking about Jeff Hardy versus Karrion Kross. Well, Karrion Kross last night took another loss. This time it was not to Jeff Hardy, but instead to Bobby Lashley. And this was, I guess, the least shocking match of all time. Bobby Lashley, I think everybody knew he was going to win. David Sheldon went, on a somewhat of a rant about Kross's booking last night, and I agreed with him completely. But, I mean, this was obvious. The only good thing about this match, I actually think, was the commentary team, because I was very much enjoying their dialogue. It was quite funny during it. But Soul, what did you think about it? I believe you're muted, Soul.
I am an idiot. Keeping up as always. This is just for show, I guess. My main thing is, before I want to talk about Kross, is I want to talk about Bobby. I really liked his entrance with the troops thing, recognizing his history, and just thought that was really wholesome. Something really needed in wrestling at this point. But Kross. Yeah. Oh, boy, where do we begin? So, whenever I play, a 2K game in universe mode, I like to bring back ECW, and I always put Kross as the champion. Because I think that just fits. That hardcore style with his entrance and the whole thing, it works. And I always enjoyed, making Kross basically the dominant champion. And then when you turn into the product, it's just like, that's why we keep the universe mode, because sometimes the things you love don't happen. You do. But I think something else I also like to do is I like to learn. I like to go into the past and see what's happened. So I watched a lot of Karrion stuff in Lucha Underground. Him as the White Rabbit. And it was just so mesmerizing and engaging. And I was like, why can't we translate this into WWE with the production, the production and everything they got, the theme and everything? That could be so good. And I just think that, honestly, I mean, I never want to be really negative towards a wrestler. They're human beings at the end of the day. But I feel like WrestleMania cuts next year. I think Kross is someone that is going to be a lot of people's expect list, just because. What is he doing? He's done, the same theme. He's had Scarlet. He's not had Scarlet. He's had the gladiator gear from Ridley Scott's film. He's had nothing. He's had suits. He's had bits and pieces. So it's where do we progress? I mean, Allison, have you got any thoughts where we can actually progress with Kross?
I mean, honestly, we just need to make him scary again. We need to put him against smaller guys and build him up where he just goes on a monster run, just going through that entire mid-card, beating all of the smaller guys, and then make him look like, a big threat. Because David said it yesterday, his bad matches are when he faces the bigger guys. When he faces the smaller guys, it's usually really entertaining. But right now, like David said yesterday, when he draws a tarot card, you're not scared. You're thinking you're going to get an easy win. So, they need to do something, don't they?
I agree, man, honestly. I mean, new character, new something. I don't honestly think Kross is someone with his style and all that could work as a good guy. I think he's just naturally the bad guy as it is. Yeah. Maybe you could do maybe a comedy thing with him, basically trying to be a bad guy, trying to be good, and he does little bits and pieces trying to be a good guy. Maybe have Kross go into Alpha Academy, trying to
no, that's a step too far.
I can't get the wins. I need Otis. I need the manpower. I need the power. Help me to win, because hey, look, he's doing nothing at this point. Alpha Academy is going to be a chip on his bloody shoulder. I mean, what else can he do? I mean, that's it. Who knows what 2024 will hold for Karrion Kross? And I guess, viewers, I pass over. We're going to talk about the women's match now by Ignacio. Oh boy.
Oh well. Well, I guess.
I didn't miss you, so.
Oh.
I'm trying to get fired again.
But now you introduced it, so let's talk about the women's match. Charlotte Flair, Asuka. This match, it was a WrestleMania match before. We said it on yesterday's show. This kind of came out of nowhere. Clark said it, and it's true. If this got announced in AEW, we'd all be complaining that it was random, and that's true. I mean, at least there's a storyline with damage control. It's not completely out of the blue, but still, they could have built this up more. But this match was very, very sloppy. It looked like Flair kind of got hurt at one point in it, which is, excusable why, they didn't have as good as a match as you might hope for it to be. But yeah, overall, I wasn't a huge fan of it. But Asuka got the win, meaning that Charlotte Flair, well, I guess she's not in contention for Io Sky's title now. I mean, Ignacio, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, it's definitely not their best outing. They've had 100 times better matches, but I think it's just Flair got hurt, and I wasn't aware of it at first. I went back and watched the match again earlier because when she did, they were saying she got hurt with the moonsault, but when she landed, she kind of like no-sold it, because she popped right back up, and then when she went to throw Asuka into the corner, she ducked down and she was holding the knee, and it looked like they cut the match short because she's legitimately hurt, and you saw stuff online as far as them walking her back to the to the backstage and things, and I hope she's okay. Real quick, I'll ask you a question, Ben, or anybody. Has anybody heard about the severity of her injury?
No, there's nothing on that yet. But I do hope you're right that it's okay. I hope she's okay because she's one of their best talents in that women's division. So her being hurt for any length of time, well, that really would be bad for them.
Yeah, I was and then before this match, I was thinking, what are they going to do with Charlotte at WrestleMania? Because you can't have WrestleMania without Charlotte Flair. And I was thinking, she's not going to challenge Io Sky for the title because I think that's going to probably Bayley and Barrett, Sasha Banks coming back from WWE. I think that's where they're going to go with that. Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about it, but seems like maybe that's where they're going to go. So I was thinking, and now they might be in trouble, or they're going to have to do a little bit of shuffling around because I think Becky Lynch is going to challenge Rhea Ripley for the women's title for Raw. So I think maybe they might have to do a little bit of shuffling around now because I was taught that Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania was going to face in her debut Jade Cargill.
Yes.
Because if anybody can make Jade Cargill look good, it's Charlotte Flair. And I thought that was the match we were going to see because Charlotte's a master of the ring, and they're probably seriously working on Jade Cargill's ring work, and that's why we haven't seen or heard much of heard much of her the past couple of months or 6 weeks or so. And I thought maybe she's going to have her debut match at WrestleMania with Charlotte Flair, and if that's the case, now it looks like they're going to have to do a little bit of shuffling around. Like I said, hope she's all right, but I thought that was the situation that Charlotte was going to see herself at WrestleMania, and that would have been tremendous.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there is still, there's still pretty much 5 months, just under 5 months until WrestleMania. Yeah. So I mean, you can, I guess, hope. Yeah, sorry, 4 months until WrestleMania. So I guess you can hope that maybe she could make a recovery by then, because of course we know Rollins' first knee injury was very, very serious. He was out for a long time, but his second knee injury he was only out for 2.5 months for. So who knows, maybe Charlotte, hopefully if she is hurt, she can make it back in time for that match against Jade Cargill at WrestleMania, because I agree that is the perfect debut for Jade Cargill. I mean, WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all, against someone like Charlotte Flair. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better way to debut in WWE, that is for sure. But now let's talk about the main event, because in the main event of SmackDown, we had Randy Orton team up with LA Knight. We don't have Clark on today, so I won't have to worry about any yes. But they took on Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. Earlier in the night, Randy Orton went into Nick Aldis, his office, and gave him a check for $100,000, double the amount he was meant to give, because he told Nick Aldis he'll RKO him again at a later date. But he also told Nick Aldis that he had no idea who LA Knight was, which, I mean, I guess Randy Orton just hasn't been watching the product since he's been out, basically. But Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa took them on in the main event. It was a fun way to end the show. Nothing overly special. LA Knight went for Blood Force Trauma before Randy Orton took Jimmy Uso and hit the RKO on him, stealing the victory. But hey, they were all friends. Randy Orton showed respect to LA Knight at the end. But Ignacio, what were your thoughts on this main event of Tribute to the Troops SmackDown?
It was good. I thought it was a good way to close out the show and to further the the Bloodline storyline with Randy, because Roman's coming back next week, and there's going to be some confrontation with Randy and Roman, and it's going to lead to more than likely lead to a match with them at the Royal Rumble, which very excited to see. And a lot of people say, well, it doesn't matter because, well, first of all, people complain about Roman not defending the title enough or not coming on TV enough, and now some people are complaining about, well, no matter who he faces at the Rumble, he's gonna lose, and we still don't know if Rock is in the bag for WrestleMania. And if that's the case, then I would think that it's simple math that Roman would drop the title before then, because I don't think he would wrestle The Rock for the title at WrestleMania. If it did, I don't think he would drop the title to The Rock. So if that's the case, then Randy Orton would be a very viable candidate for Roman to drop the title to at the Royal Rumble. And it's going to be a good match because, as we saw yesterday, Randy's just so good. He doesn't even have to be in the ring. Just the way he is on the apron, feeding for the tag, and the way he interacts with the crowd and his facials and his mannerisms, he's just so good. He's the best probably in the business right now overall. And LA Knight still got the biggest pop of the night. Well, him and Punk were here. He's still hot. The fans are still with him. And I think if LA Knight's not going to be I think he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, but if he's not going to be in the title picture with Rollins, because I think that's reserved for Punk and Roman's reserved for Cody, well, then a lot of people, I think Kobe was saying that, he probably thinks that he's going to go with Logan Paul for the U.S. title. But I think what would benefit LA Knight more is if he beat somebody like Randy Orton at WrestleMania, who's a huge superstar. And you got babyface versus babyface, but Orton is just as good as heel as he is a babyface, and he can turn heel very easily. But the thing is that the crowd is just so with Randy Orton. They cheer him so much and they respect him so much. How are you going to make him a heel now? How are you going to make LA Knight a heel? But regardless, I think a win against a superstar who has the history like Randy Orton, the veteran, the WrestleMania main events and the matches, the superstardom, it would benefit LA Knight for him to get a win over Randy Orton, then beat like Logan Paul for the U.S. title.
Yeah, no, honestly, Ignacio, I do agree with you. The only thing I disagree with you is that even if it is Reigns versus Rock at Mania, I think they'll do it with the title, because I don't think it matters that The Rock won't win the title, because I truly think that Roman Reigns is going to hold the title for at least another 9 months. At least. I think next summer's the earliest we'll see Roman lose it. And then if they do it at Mania, I think Mania 41 is a bit more likely, just because I really do think they want this reign to just be unmatchable for the next the next century, basically, for the rest of WWE. I don't think they want anything ever coming close again, but we have a few comments. Let's kick things off with Matt Williams saying David Sheldon is a star for real. He's also comparing you, Shad.
Can we block him? Let's block him.
We've also got Matt Williams talking to Shad, saying his work as Jacob Fatu has been incredible. I mean, the amount of comments pointing out.
Oh my God, man! I'm a ooh son.
And we've also
y'all should have let me interview Jacob Fatu next time around, man. Be like the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other.
We need to see that now. We need to get Jacob Fatu back for an interview with Shad on the Daily. But Matt Williams is also saying that we should start a promotion. Ooh, that would be indeed.
I'm just saying, if we introduce a championship, it has to be a spinner by law, by decree. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've also got Ramsey in the comments. Oh, he's doing Clark's job. Let me talk to you. LA Knight, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then,
That's
and then a
definitely
cheeky dig.
that,
Sorry, yeah, go on, Chad.
well, that's a Clark burner account. I believe.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
what I was
probably
gonna say.
Clark.
That's Clark.
It's Clark. Clark's
That
he's
guy
watching
too.
the KU game and got a new YouTube account. But he's also got dissing AEW, so clearly it isn't Clark, and saying that CM Punk is actually bigger than AEW.
Well, to counteract
I
that,
mean-
boys.
We got
I mean,
David
obviously-
Sheldon and Clark using burner accounts here.
Oh, of course. But I mean, to counteract that guy's point, I would say The Rock and Cena are bigger than the WWE. I mean, so
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't
I-
know.
yeah.
Let's look at. I mean, not today, but it'd be very interesting. In fact, I might actually do it after the podcast to look at Google search trends and see, you know, what's had more searches over the last however long AEW's existed now, 4 years. Who's had more searches, CM Punk or AEW? And then maybe do the same thing for John Cena and WWE and The Rock in WWE. That'll be interesting for sure. I mean, that's kind of, I guess, the way to you know, find the answer to that one. But Soul, what about you? What did you think about this main event on SmackDown?
I think my main takeaway of it, was entertaining. Very good main event. Sending home the crowd home happy. Good to see. But I would love to see maybe like an RK Knight tag team from this. Maybe go against the Judgment Day or something. I mean, Royal Rumble probably more likely. Then maybe if they lose, Randy could take like the pin and then say to LA Knight, make your own way. You are a superstar sort of thing, like a passing of the torch thing, maybe. But another thing I want to take away from this is just, Jesus, the Bloodline are a bunch of chumps. They're a bunch of idiots. I hate this. The fact is, like, look at these guys. These were the guys that were the most dominant individuals within the WWE that everybody feared. They beat every single good guy. And now, like, they're just kind of, like, wasted on, like, a kind of easy main event and then just chucked to the wind and pass over. Because when, Daddy Reigns comes back, everyone quivers in fear and it's like, oh, yeah, he's here to save us because he's the big old chief.
I mean, Solo Sikoa did just beat John Cena brutally.
Yeah, but I've got like 5-second memory, so I don't remember anything pretty much. I mean, that's the fact. I just like, it's weird because I feel like the Bloodline thing has gone on way too bloody long. It's like Grey's Anatomy, right? Started with a good concept, great show, and then by the 10th season, it was absolute trash. It went on too long. This should have ended at SummerSlam with Jay and Roman. That, I think, like I said, the story has had multiple good endings from when I was here. And, Sammy, Cody, and LA Knight, and now with Jey Uso, like there was just so many points to end it, but when you just keep it going, it waters down. It's going to be like when you watch a show and it's like, oh, this show's 10 seasons. Like, oh, how much of it is it a good watch all the way through? It's like, watch it from season 1 to 6, but you could skip the other 4 seasons. That's like how I feel the Bloodline arc is.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, that is an interesting perspective, to be fair, because there's certainly been times, in this where the Reign's the reign, pun intended, I guess, slow down and all of that. But I mean, maybe that is a good reference. But at the same time, every time Roman Reigns is on TV and has a match, it's must watch again. It's kind of just like dips down when he's not on TV. So, I mean, if you went back and watched all of Roman Reigns' matches, I feel like you'd be thrilled. I mean, I've said it before, we're complaining about this a lot now. I think we're going to look back on this in like 5 years' time and say, hey, we should have appreciated it more because that was the best title reign we've seen in a long, long time. And we were having, 3-4 great stories a year with him. Yes, not every single week, but over the course of it.
Well, boss man, I'll say one final piece as well. I would love to go back and watch all these 5 Roman Reigns matches of 2023. What's happened? Great entrance, hits the Superman punch, spear, 1 count, interference, match done. Congratulations. You have just seen all of Roman Reigns' matches from 2023.
I mean, that was quite funny to be fair,
back on the show again after this.
I mean, no. I mean, honestly, though, it's a good point. They do often follow the same formula, but there's always a twist, though, because you always think something else is going to happen.
His moveset, though. But I will say, if I was to agree with a point, it is the common occurrence of the interference.
Yeah.
I don't think it. I feel like it's important on the magnitude of the opponent. I think there are some people that maybe you don't need to. I think he's that dominant and strong of a competitor where he could beat him clean, and it's cool. Like I feel like you don't lose merit for taking a loss to Roman Reigns. I mean, he's been a champion since like when the Declaration of Independence was created. He's been champ forever now, and it's a point where it don't take that much of a. Doesn't seem as bad at this point. So
So what you're saying, Shad, is this reign should end at like Capital Punishment or something like that kind of pay-per-view. They just have the Declaration of Independence now, and it's just like, yeah.
no. So I'm one person, and I'm not one of these. I may feel a little different than maybe you feel on it. I don't have that much of a problem with him not being on a weekly television show so often,
I don't either.
because I feel like there's novelty with his presence while he is on an episode and what he does. Like he's gained, it's kind of the position of where he's at this point, right? He's built up so high as a champion where he calls the shots. He's the head honcho of what's happening in WWE. And I'm kind of cool with how that character arc is at that point. It would be cool to see him maybe wrestle a little bit more, maybe within more pay-per-views, but I don't need to see him have random title matches on a SmackDown and I don't know, in Wichita or whatever it may be.
Yeah, what would the like they do in AEW? What would the point? What would the point of Roman having a title match against fucking Tozawa or whatever on SmackDown? Or then again, who else is he gonna wrestle? That whenever he wrestles, it's special. It's an extravaganza. It's a spectacular. It draws. It's a
absolutely.
spectacle.
I will agree. Roman is a spectacle. The entrance, it's still a banger. I'm pretty sure it's in like every wrestling fan Spotify Rapper this year. It is a banger. But I think if you're gonna do Roman being this big dominant thing and being a threat, include it into a storyline. Do something like Adam Pearce or someone is trying to get him on to the show to meet his contractual obligations of being a defending champion, and have him play some shenanigans through the wise man or something like that. When he just comes along, does his thing, and then goes away for 4 months, you kind of feel like insulted, being like, oh, he's here, he's gone, he's here, he's gone, whoop-de-doo. Like, actually make something out of it. Make it so that the Bloodline is a dominating force, always in the background, always lurking around, interacting with the officials, maybe paying off a referee or something like that, like a kind of like a Dawn Boss sort of thing, or just doing something that shows, yeah, they're not here all the time, but their presence is still felt.
I mean, they do that with Heyman, Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso. They're not paying off referees, but Heyman's constantly talking to, previously Adam Pearce, I guess now Nick Aldis.
I feel like they need to have Roman included in it, though, even like over a telecall or something like that, or just hearing his voice or something like that, to show that he is someone
calling the tribal chief on his series. I will say this to the point of the match yesterday. I did enjoy the match, and I agree with a lot of points what y'all was saying, where it is a good opportunity to have the two over heels beating the heel faction. And I think my only gripe would just being I want to see a little bit more telling storylines within the two members of the Bloodlines, that being Solo and Jimmy, especially with Jimmy, because I think Jimmy is kind of underrated off of character work of what he does. We praise Jay a lot, but him kind of being this, I'm back in the Bloodline, this funny heel that's, gaining his way back into there and taking these L's. Feel like there could be a little bit more of a story told to that. And I think Solo Sikoa is just money as a monster. Like he's like Roman Jr. for him. Like he's a incredible heavy to have and like an enforcer. So I want to definitely see him positioning more rather than just them fighting whoever he's feuding with and just losing instantly. Like I feel like you could build a couple weeks into a good match, like a Solo and Randy Orton match. That has my attention. Like if we can, build into that. Hopefully we will. So it's still early.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Shard. I do agree with you on that one. Very quickly before we end the show, Soul, to your point, the only thing that I would add to it is, fair enough, Roman Reigns is not there a lot, but the thing is, when he was there, were they getting that rating spike every time that he would show up? No. But now every time he does show up, do they get a rating spike? Yes. It's clearly, for whatever reason, made him more popular and a bigger draw by taking time off And I mean, it was the same thing with Brock Lesnar when he did that a few years ago. But for whatever reason, the fact that people only get to see him now and again makes it more special. And then because of that, he's worth more money to WWE as a whole. But that does bring us to the end of today's show. A quick note, make sure you don't miss Wrestling Republic's NXT deadline off the air tonight, because of course Shad, Clark, and Drizzy will be going live pretty much immediately following the show to give their instant thoughts on it off the air. If you don't watch it, it's just a great three-man show. You guys need to make sure you tune into it. It's great stuff. But thank you guys. If you're watching on Spotify, please give us a cheeky 5-star. If you're on YouTube, a subscribe makes my day. And on Twitch, well, if you give us a follow, I will love you forever. Thank you guys, and thank you to Soul, thank you to Shad, and thank you to Ignacio for joining me here today. We will be back tomorrow for Sunday's AEW Collision review.